right, folks, settle in. Today, we're diving deep right into the heart of the Disney Plus Percy Jackson and the Olympians series.
Oh, yeah.
You know, gotta say, you sent over this awesome review by Friendly Space Ninja.
Oh, I know that one.
It's got some pretty hot takes in it.
It does.
So, our mission, if you choose to accept it,
Okay.
is we're going to break down the good, the bad, the ugly,
Okay.
and see if this show really lives up to all that hype about it being this super faithful adaptation.
You know, I think it's interesting because, like, the reviewer really starts off so excited.
Yes.
Which I think we all were.
Yeah.
That hope, right?
Yes.
That this time, with Uncle Rick on board, it's going to be the one right. They're going to do it right this time.
Absolutely. It's like that sigh of relief, like finally someone gets it.
Yeah.
And they highlight how the show just nails those early moments.
Yeah.
Percy's origin story, that whole trip to Camp Half-Blood. I mean, you almost feel like you're rereading the book. The opening narration, it's spot on. The capture the flag scene, pure adrenaline.
Oh, yeah.
And that fight with Clarice, I mean, perfection. For a moment, you're like, okay, we're on the right track.
Yeah. This is it.
Smooth sailing.
We're finally here.
This is the Percy Jackson we've been waiting for.
But, and this is a big but,
Uh-oh.
that excitement, I think, for the reviewer kind of crashes like hitting Mount Olympus face first.
Okay.
As soon as the story gets to Camp Half-Blood, the pacing starts to get a little weird, and some of the choices they make, the storytelling choices, start to feel a little off.
Oh, I see. It's like you're on this amazing journey, and then suddenly you hit a wall.
Yeah, it's like you're in a canoe and there's a hole in it.
Oh, no.
It starts sinking.
And it's not just the story that springs a leak. It's the visuals, too, right?
Right.
The reviewer uses some colorful language, let's just say.
Yes.
Calling the show ugly as hell, bland, gray, lacking any of that vibrant, magical energy that Riordan created in the books.
Right. It's supposed to be this fantastical, mythical world, and it ends up looking like, I don't know.
Like someone drained all the color out of it.
Yeah, yeah. And this is what I think is so interesting. These surface level problems, the visuals, the tone, it's like they're symptoms of a bigger issue.
Okay, so we're talking a deeper problem here, not just a cosmetic fix.
Right, exactly. It's like the show is trying to wear Percy's clothes, but they don't quite fit.
A bit of a wardrobe malfunction, you might say. And speaking of clothes that don't fit, the reviewer goes in on the characters, specifically our main trio, Percy, Annabeth, the Olympians.
Right.
But get this, they actually praise the actors.
Right.
Suggesting that they're working with some pretty weak material.
It's like casting Helen Mirren to play a tree nymph in the background.
Wow, okay, that's a visual.
Yeah.
So much talent, just completely wasted.
Right, it's like the script is doing them dirty.
Totally. Like, okay, let's start with Percy.
Okay.
The reviewer paints this pretty stark contrast between the show's Percy, who comes across as kind of bland, passive, almost like a background character, and book Percy, the hilarious, sassy, impulsive firecracker we all know and love. I mean, they even go as far as comparing him to like a watered-down Tony Stark.
Oh, wow.
Where's that wit, the edge, the I'll fight a minotaur in my underwear energy?
Gone.
Poof.
Gone.
Like a mist.
And poor Annabeth doesn't fare much better. She's basically this moody teenager. All that complexity from the books, her backstory, her relationship with Luke, it's just gone.
Right. Everything that made her such a fan favorite just kind of erased.
It's like they took a multi-layered character and flattened her out. And then, oh boy, then there are the gods. Imagine expecting the mighty Olympians, and you get, I don't even know how to describe it.
A divine PTA meeting.
Yes. The reviewer uses Hades as the prime example, saying he's like Josh Gad trying to play Voldemort.
Oh, that's interesting.
Can you picture that? Josh Gad with a skull crown and a fake British accent trying to be menacing.
I don't know if I can.
It's just, where's the godliness in these gods?
Yeah, it's like they forgot what makes them, well, gods. Right. Like, they should be awe-inspiring, maybe a little terrifying.
Right.
The only exceptions seem to be Zeus, who they say at least has some presence.
Okay.
And Poseidon, who, thanks to Toby Stephens, actually brings some heart to the role.
Oh, interesting.
So we've got a bland Percy, a one-dimensional Annabeth, and a group of gods who wouldn't know epic if it hit them with a lightning bolt. So where does this character assassination come from, according to the reviewer?
Well, they point to the show's over-reliance on exposition. It's like watching a movie where they just keep stopping to explain every little detail.
Oh, I hate that. Like, just show me, don't tell me.
Exactly.
And the reviewer has some pretty cringeworthy examples. That Minotaur chase scene, the one that just grinds to a halt for a 2-minute info dump.
Oh, no.
And major plot twists, things like Medusa's identity, Luke's betrayal, all spoiled through dialogue. Talk about killing the suspense.
Yeah, it's like they don't trust the audience to figure anything out on their own.
And what's the result of all this hand-holding? Boredom. Pure, unadulterated boredom.
Right. The show misses every chance to visually build the world, to let the characters' actions speak for themselves, to create any real emotional stakes. It's like they're giving us the cliff notes instead of letting us experience the story.
It's like reading a Wikipedia entry instead of the actual myth.
Yeah.
And speaking of reactions, the reviewer gets into the fandom's response, which is apparently super divided.
Really?
And there's this, like, aggressive defensiveness coming from some corners of the fandom.
Wow, that's intense.
It's wild. The reviewer even mentions getting warnings from other fans before releasing the video.
Oh, wow. Like, don't do it, you're going to regret it kind of warnings.
Exactly. Apparently, some fans believe that just because Rick Riordan's involved, the show is, like, untouchable.
Yeah.
A sacred cow grazing on Mount Olympus.
But that's kind of the problem, isn't it?
Exactly. It's like you can love the books, you can respect Rick Riordan, but you can still criticize the adaptation. You can separate the artist from the art.
Right. It's not a personal attack.
And the reviewer even brings up David Fincher. Amazing director.
Absolutely.
Made some flops.
Yeah.
Just because you like someone's work doesn't mean you have to love everything they do.
Yeah.
Blind adoration can be just as bad as blind hatred.
Absolutely. It stifles creativity. It prevents growth. And it just makes it impossible to have any genuine conversations about the art we consume.
Couldn't agree more. And then there's the it's just a kid's show defense.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Like, because the source material is for younger readers, the show gets a free pass to be shallow and poorly written. Come on.
Right. It's like saying that kids don't deserve well-written stories.
Exactly. There are tons of amazing shows out there, considered kids shows, that are actually incredibly smart and well-crafted.
Yeah.
Shows like Gravity Falls, Avatar, The Last Airbender, they manage to be both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Yeah, they respect the intelligence of their audience.
Exactly. Kids are smart. They deserve stories that challenge them, not treat them like, I don't know, like they're still in diapers.
And to be fair, the majority of the people watching the show probably aren't even kids, right?
Right. The reviewer brings up a Nielsen report showing that only about 25% of Percy Jackson viewers are actually under 17. So that whole it's for kids argument kind of falls apart.
So most of us watching are adults who remember reading the books and are probably just as disappointed as the reviewer is.
Exactly. And then there's the no show has a good first season argument.
Oh, that's a classic.
Which the reviewer just shuts down completely. I mean, they rattle off a whole list of shows that absolutely killed it right out of the gate. Stranger Things, Daredevil, Lost, The Good Place. Need I go on?
It's not about the number of seasons, it's about the quality of the storytelling.
Exactly. And here's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
The reviewer reveals that after the show's disastrous handling of the Lotus Casino scene, I mean, talk about missing the mark, a lot of fans have actually started to, wait for it, reevaluate the movies.
The movies, the ones that everyone hated.
The very same. It's like all of a sudden those movies are looking a lot more appealing in comparison.
So it's like sometimes you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that sometimes, even with all their flaws, adaptations can still be entertaining. And sometimes, the ones that try too hard to be faithful end up missing the heart of the story entirely.
Yeah, it's like they were so focused on checking off boxes that they forgot to make it fun.
And engaging and exciting. Like you're watching this world come to life, but there's no magic there.
No spark.
And speaking of a lack of spark,
the
reviewer really digs into this idea that the show's failure to meet expectations might actually stem from Rick Riordan himself.
Really? How so?
Well, they argue that all those promises of a truly faithful adaptation, all that hype he built up, it might have backfired. It's like he set the bar so high, even Zeus would have trouble clearing it.
Oh, I see. It's like he created this impossible standard for the show to live up to.
Exactly. He spent years publicly bashing the movies, which, fair enough, they weren't perfect. But in doing so, he created this expectation that the show would be the ultimate Percy Jackson experience. The be-all, end-all.
And when it didn't live up to that hype, people started to get Well, let's just say a little disillusioned.
A little. More like a lot. It's like they went from finally a Percy Jackson adaptation that gets it right to maybe those movies weren't so bad after all.
Wow, talk about a pendulum swing.
Right. It's a reminder that sometimes managing expectations can be just as important as delivering on them.
Absolutely. And it's also a reminder that sometimes, even when things don't go as planned, it's okay to adjust your perspective. And maybe those movies weren't masterpieces, but at least they had some entertainment value.
Exactly. It's okay to admit that maybe, just maybe, we were a little too quick to judge.
So where does that leave us with the show? Is it a complete and utter failure?
Well, the reviewer doesn't go that far. They see it as more of a missed opportunity.
A chance to really capture the magic of the books, but it just fell short.
Yeah. But they don't completely write it off either. They actually give a lot of credit to the cast, especially their potential.
Okay, so there's still hope.
Maybe. They're hopeful that season 2 will be a course correction, a chance for the show to find its footing and really let the actors shine.
So the big question is, what would it take for season 2 to become the adaptation we've all been waiting for?
That's what we're going to explore next. Stay tuned.
Uh-huh.
It's like they went for safe instead of spectacular.
Right, like so afraid to repeat the movie's mistakes, they forgot to actually make something, good.
And that leads perfectly to the reviewer's next point,
Yeah.
which is Rick Riordan's involvement.
Okay, yeah, he was so vocal about this adaptation.
Exactly. And they argue that his constant promises, this time it'll be faithful, that actually might hurt the show.
Because the expectations were so high.
Sky high. Like, even Zeus would struggle with those expectations.
Oh, I see. Like, he set the bar so high that it was almost impossible to clear.
He basically banished those movies to the Tartarus of bad adaptations. Which, okay, fair enough. They weren't great. But by doing that, he created this impossible standard for the show.
So then when the show came out and it wasn't perfect, fans were extra disappointed.
More than disappointed. I mean, some people are actually looking back at the movies with a newfound appreciation.
No way, seriously.
Seriously. Like, hey, Logan Lerman wasn't so bad after all.
It's crazy how our perspectives can change, right?
Totally. Sometimes you don't know what you've got till it's gone, or in this case, until you get something that you think is going to be so much better, and it's just not.
So the reviewer sees this show as a missed opportunity.
Yeah, they call it a watered-down nectar instead of the godly feast we were all hoping for.
But they're not completely writing it off, right?
No, not at all. They actually have some really interesting thoughts on what season 2 could do to, turn things around. And they give a lot of credit to the cast.
Okay, good. Because I really do think there's potential there.
Absolutely. So what would it take for season 2 to really become the adaptation we've all been dreaming of?
Lay it on me. What does the reviewer say?
Well, first and foremost, lighten up. The show needs to embrace the humor, the heart, the fun of the books. It takes itself way too seriously.
Yeah, it's like they forgot that Percy Jackson is about kids going on these crazy adventures.
Exactly. It's not all doom and gloom. It's funny, it's heartwarming, it's exciting.
So rediscover that balance. Got it. What else?
The visuals need a major upgrade.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Like way beyond just a fresh coat of paint on Camp Half-Blood.
Right. We need to see the grandeur, the magic of this world.
Mount Olympus, the underworld, those have to be visually stunning.
Imagine, like, when Percy first controls the water. In the book, it's this huge, powerful moment. But in the show...
What? Did they just skip over it?
Practically. It happens off-screen. It's like describing the chariot race without showing the horses. What's even the point?
That's such a missed opportunity. They need to show us the power of these demigods, the magic.
And while we're at it, can we talk about the action sequences? They're so underwhelming.
Yeah, it's like they're afraid to go all out.
Right. The battles feel rushed. The monsters are, I don't know, they're not scary at all. It's like watching a demigod training session gone wrong.
I mean, the reviewers specifically called out the Ares fight.
Oh, I know. Ares, the god of war, reduced to, like, a grumpy teenager throwing a tantrum. It's sad. And don't even get me started on the underworld.
Okay. I'm sensing some strong feelings here. What's wrong with the underworld?
It's supposed to be this dark, terrifying place. But in the show, it's, I don't know, like, kind of boring.
They need to make it feel dangerous. Like you're actually in the realm of Hades.
Exactly. We need to feel the stakes, the danger. This is the underworld, not some gloomy waiting room.
Okay, I'm with you. So more humor, better visuals, epic action sequences. Check. What about the characters themselves?
They need depth, especially Percy and Annabeth.
Right. They can't just be like reciting lines from the books.
Exactly. Percy needs that snarky wit, that impulsive bravery. He needs to be the hero, the leader. Make us believe he can save the world, even if he does it with a sarcastic quip.
And Annabeth needs to be more than just the smart girl.
Right. We need to see her vulnerability, her struggles, her loyalty. We need to see why she's such a fan favorite character.
And the gods. Did they get a makeover too?
Oh, absolutely. They need to be more than just like bored immortals hanging out on Mount Olympus. They need to be powerful, unpredictable, a little bit scary even.
They need to be gods, not just like extras in the Percy Jackson show.
Exactly. And finally, and this is a big one, the show needs to trust its audience.
Oh, yeah. Stop explaining every single thing. Let us figure some stuff out on our own.
It's like they think we're all clueless mortals stumbling through Camp Half-Blood for the first time. Treat us like demigods. We can handle it.
So there you have it, a blueprint for Season 2, courtesy of Friendly Space Ninja. The question is, will the showrunners listen?
That's the million-dollar drachma question, isn't it? It's like they had this checklist, hit all the major plot points, make sure all the characters are there.
Yeah.
But they forgot to make it. Breathe.
Yeah, they missed that emotional core, that connection that makes you care about what happens.
And for me, one of the biggest things missing is that visual storytelling. This world is full of mythical creatures, epic landscapes, all this magic.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a visual feast.
Right. Like, take that scene where Percy first controls the water. In the book, it's incredible, this huge, almost overwhelming moment for him.
I remember that. You really feel the power.
Exactly. But in the show...
Fade to black.
Seriously.
Yes.
They just skipped it.
Practically. Like, imagine describing the chariot race without actually showing the horses. The speed, the chaos of it all, it just falls flat.
Yeah, it feels like they played it safe, visually. Like they were afraid to really go there.
And the Eras fight. I mean, come on. That should have been epic. A clash of the titans, godly powers unleashed.
Instead, it was like a slap fight in a high school cafeteria.
I know, right? It's like they took all the most exciting parts of the story and turned them into, I don't know, generic TV moments. Where's the awe, the magic, that sense that these characters are teetering on the edge of something extraordinary?
Yeah, it's missing that larger-than-life feeling. And speaking of underwhelming, Hades.
Oh, don't even get me started.
I mean, this is the god of the underworld, the king of the dead. He should be terrifying.
The reviewer compared him to Josh Gad playing Voldemort, and honestly, I can't unsee it.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I see what they mean. Like, it's not about the actor. It's the whole vibe is just wrong.
Exactly. It's like they stripped away all the mystique, the power, the sheer godliness of these characters. Like, they forgot that gods are supposed to be, well, a little bit scary.
A little bit unpredictable, make you feel like you should be bowing down to them.
Right. Like, you shouldn't be able to predict what they're going to do next. And the only gods who actually come close to that are Zeus.
Okay, yeah. Lance Reddick, he was amazing.
He really did bring that authority, that gravitas to the role. It's a shame we lost him so soon.
He could have really anchored that whole pantheon of gods.
Absolutely. And Poseidon, Toby Stevens, he actually brought some depth to the role. But overall, it's just not there.
So are we saying there's no hope for Season 2? Should we just give up now?
I'm always an optimist at heart. And the reviewer does offer some pretty good suggestions for how to turn things around.
All right, give me some hope here. What do they say?
Embrace the source material. Lean into the humor, the heart, the fast-paced adventure that made the book so great in the first place. Remember that this is a story about kids going on crazy adventures, facing incredible odds, and finding their own strength along the way.
Yeah, find that balance between the serious stuff and the fun stuff. It doesn't always have to be so heavy.
And for the love of the gods, trust the audience. We can handle a little mystery, a little suspense. We don't need everything spelled out for us. Let us experience the story, the surprises, the twists and turns, along with the characters.
Let us feel like we're part of the adventure, not just watching it from a distance.
Exactly. So is Percy Jackson and the Olympians a complete disaster? No. Is it a disappointment? Honestly, yeah. But maybe, just maybe, Season 2 can learn from these mistakes. Maybe they can find a way to capture the magic that we all fell in love with in the books.
It would be amazing to see this show reach its full potential.
And on that note, we want to hear from you. What are your hopes for Season 2? What changes would you make? Let us know in the comments. Send us a message. Light a signal fire on Mount Olympus, whatever it takes. We're dying to know what you think. And until next time, keep those deep dive requests coming. And remember, even the gods make mistakes. But it's how we learn from them that truly matters.